The first symptom was the lack of arm swing on one side. You just don't think about your arms when you're walking. They just do what they're supposed to do automatically. And I thought, oh, that's a bit odd.
I woke up and my body was shaking. It was shaking, and to me, I thought I was having a fit.
You know, someone who does triathlons doesn't suddenly say to you, and by the way, I've got Parkinson's. So it was quite shocking for people to align those two things.
Out of the blue, someone can, within a short space of time, go from being quite healthy, quite okay, everything's going well, to having severe symptoms of Parkinson's disease. I find that kind of heart-wrenching, yeah.
Some numbers that have emerged out of a very recent study suggested that 1 in 37 people alive today would get a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease in their lifetime.
There's a group of symptoms or signs that might indicate that someone has Parkinson's disease. One of them is a flat affect, so they have, it's nicknamed the wooden face, where they struggle to show their emotion. The movement thing is common. People often say that they experience a lot of what we call REM behaviour, sleep disorder. And this is where they essentially act out their dreams at night. So it'll be thrashing around in the bed, trying to fight something or kick against something that they're dreaming about. The olfactory system, or loss of the sense of smell, is also a really common precursor. People often don't know that they've lost their sense of smell. But that is one of the earliest indicators that Parkinson's disease or Alzheimer's disease is on its way.
We were on holiday and we were walking down a wharf in Croatia, and my right hand started to tremor, and I turned to my husband and I said, "Looks like I've got Parkinson's." I might have sworn a little bit, but yeah, and that was the first time I experienced a tremor, and that was the start.
I was playing rugby league for Mount East, and I got an injury on my elbow, and I ended up going that way. So I had surgery, and after surgery, that's where I started feeling funny. I started to be slow. I mean, to me, I was fine, you know. I felt like I was moving normal, but everyone else saw me as slow. I was wondering, why is that? Why am I so slow?
The region that's affected in the brain, it's kind of, if you went in under your ears and went straight into the centre of the brain, you'd be somewhere around about there. And it's an area called the substantia nigra, the black substance. And that's where about 95% of the brain's dopamine, and dopamine is the neurotransmitter that keeps us somewhere between psychotic and delusional on one side and stiff and rigid on the other. And so you have too little dopamine in Parkinson's, and so people experience stiffness and rigidity. And in conditions like schizophrenia, you have too much dopamine, and so you have the psychosis and the delusions and things like that on the other hand. And so for most people, they're right in the middle there with neither of those scenarios. They're right in the middle. And so once 60 to 80% of those dopamine-producing cells have died, then you start to get the overt symptoms of classical Parkinson's disease. Stiffness and rigidity, a difficulty in being able to get off a chair, to move. That dopamine normally liberates the activity of the frontal lobe, which is what helps us with memory. It helps us with executive function, your ability to organise your day, your ability to switch between tasks. Those are the things that the frontal lobe does for us. And so dopamine's holding us in that nice sweet spot where all that we've learnt to do can be done. And when the dopamine starts to disappear, all the things we've learnt to do can't be done. So planning your day, the executive functioning, switching between tasks, we start to get worse at that, and the stiffness and rigidity comes in.
I would be out walking or running and my foot would cramp up. So I thought, well, this is a bit odd. So I went to the doctor and he said, oh, look, it's probably lack of magnesium, which we all thought, yeah, that'll be it, And that didn't happen after taking magnesium. Nothing worked. And then the other symptom was I started to overbalance. And I'd be doing something like brushing my teeth and leaning forward. And I'd just keep going forward. And I thought, oh. And so I went back to the doctor again and we listed the symptoms, and then he pops his head up and says, well, you're off to the neurologist. And I'm like, oh, God, what's all that about?
You walk up and down, you sniff some vanilla essence or something similar to that, and your doctor sort of tries to ascertain whether you're starting to lose some of your sensory perception and stability.
All he said to me was, if I walk. So when we walk one way and you come back. And I came back and he goes, oh, he's got it. And I said, oh, what have I got? Oh, you have a disease called Parkinson's. And at the time I laughed, I said, because I said to myself, this can't be right. I'm not, because not to be racist, but I thought at the time it was a Palangi disease. And I was like, no, I can't, it's not possible. I can't have Parkinson's. And she goes, no, you do have it. You have early onset of it. So.
It's hugely unfair. Sometimes I see somebody who's perhaps not very healthy, and I say, why haven't they got Parkinson's? Why is it me? But, picks who it wants to pick.
It's the second most common neurodegenerative disease, and it's the fastest growing one. So we shouldn't be fearful of it, but I think we should be mindful that this is something that affects many, many people in our community. The fact that so many people know someone or have met someone with Parkinson's disease says this is a big problem to be dealt with. This is a challenge, a disease that we want to get rid of.
None of my family have ever had it going back as far as I can see. There's nobody with Parkinson's or any neurological. So it just shows it doesn't matter, who you are, where you live, what your religions are, anything like that. You're all susceptible to something like this.
It's not a disease that we know who's going to get it. In fact, the predictability of who's going to get it is close to zero.
Parkinson's is something that people see as an old person's disease. They see it as a male-dominated disease, and they still see it as people think you can treat it, but you can't.
I think of it as a waveform that's always trending down. So you can have peaks within that waveform and troughs, and peaks and troughs and peaks and troughs, but the on average trend is downwards.
When I heard Muhammad Ali died of it, I got scared of my own. And when he told me I had Parkinson's, I was scared that I might die early, wasn't he?
Parkinson's often gets to people when they're in the prime of their life, when they're maybe towards the end of a very successful career, and then Parkinson's comes along and takes away some of the very essence of who they are because it affects their executive functioning, their ability to organise their day, their ability to switch between mental tasks, and their ability to move as they might expect to.
I would say pre-Parkinson's, on a daily basis, we talked about retirement and what we were going to do and where we were going to go. And, the anticipation for retirement was huge. And then once I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, those things, might not be possible. We might not have the time that we thought we would have.
When you start taking away those things that people rely on, that we think of as very human, the things that people have been proud to develop in themselves, the work ethic, the drive, the ability, that's troubling to see.
Life was pretty good. We had a very successful, booming food company. We had won some awards for various things, and life was pretty sweet. Good friends, good children, good wife, and progressively I felt that things were not quite right in my body. I thought I might have had a slight stroke because I seemed to be weaker down one side than the other. So we went to the neurologist, and the neurologist that they diagnose Parkinson's on a sensory basis. It's very, very easy to diagnose once you know what you're looking for. Probably the worst day of my life. My life I had planned to be full of a lot of fun, a lot of good travel, enjoying grandchildren, but it didn't happen that way. After I'd been diagnosed, we came home and I sat in the chair and I just wept.
To be honest, I could commit suicide 3 times. And I put my family through a lot. And that's what I hated, that I was putting my family through a lot. And I didn't want to be a burden on them, so...
The doctors would always say to me, within 10 years or 15 years, there's going to be a breakthrough because science is moving at quite a rate. We just need to do the research. And so I took from that great hope. The general theme is the first 5 years is pretty good if you have pop a few pills. The second 5 years gets a bit harder. And then the last 5 years you take as it comes, and it can turn to custard pretty quick for some people.
The brain just controls so much of what we do. Your thoughts, your emotions, your aspirations, your dreams, and your ability to move and actually do just the practical things that we think of as being human. And so to be able to understand what's changing in brain diseases is actually the final frontier, in my opinion. We've been supported really by hundreds of families from around New Zealand who have said, do brain research with my loved one's brain. Learn everything you can from this brain, because that's going to make a difference for the next generation.
And they were giving you the most incredible gift they could ever give. The brain of their mum or dad, that's actually giving us their mum or dad. And we never ever took that for granted. We treat that tissue with respect. We're using it to advance knowledge to help the families and to do the best research in the world.
It's something that is tantalisingly close to A, better understanding, and B, better solutions or even a cure. And so that's where I think the opportunity to get in and help people like Professor Curtis, people like Sir Richard, the Brain Bank, the quicker we can progress the solution to this disease.
At least 50% of the research work that we do is funded by philanthropy, by generous people who decide to give some funds to advance the cause, to try and get rid of Parkinson's disease. So we rely heavily on people's generosity, New Zealanders' generosity, to fund the research that we do.
These are the best people in the world. If we can put money in now, significant money, we can make a big difference to really accelerate in a relatively short period of time where we get to on finding a cure for Parkinson's.
You can't outrun it. It's going to get you, so to make sure if it does get you, you really got the best chance of living a full and enjoyable life. Help us fund the research in it, because without any research we won't get a cure.
I would actually find my wife would be diagnosed soon with Parkinson's. Then it really hits home, and it really does become personal. It could happen to anyone tomorrow, and wow, that's a little bit mind-blowing.
The support we're getting from Cure Parkinson's New Zealand, it's philanthropy, it is dream money, you see. To say, go into this world of Parkinson's and be innovative, so that we can stop people getting Parkinson's by your cure. That is dream money, and dreams come true.
Life now is one of taking very much every day as it comes, enjoying it as much as I can. But I do notice that things are not as easy as they once were. My balance is deteriorating, as I've said. So that's really the journey of my time. Parkies.
It's real. It's not this ephemeral, far-off thing, but actually a cure for Parkinson's is something tangible that we can achieve, and we can change the world, and we can change the future for people with Parkinson's.